Hey y'all, it's your girl Wildflower of UGS Music, and I'm here with someone today who has, experience in the mainstream industry, but also has a love for the underground, like we do here at UGS. His name is Unseen,
Yes, yes, yes. Unseen.
and we're sitting
Unseen
here.
product.
Unseen Product. We're sitting here with him today to try to get to know a little bit about his background, have a little bit of music talk. How does that sound for you?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, I can tell by the accent that you're from New York. You also let me know you're from New York, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Queens, New York.
So you're from New York, and some would say, if you know anything, you would say that hip hop kind of has a very strong history in New York, especially lyrical hip hop and things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So do you think that that has anything to do with why you even entered the music industry, is where you were, or how did that happen for you?
Yeah. Well, that's interesting because Queens is very rooted in hip hop in terms of since the beginning. If you go back to the very old school of hip hop, when you think of Curtis Blow, for example, Russell Simmons produced some of his earlier records.
Right.
And also managed him. So, and Russell Simmons, being from my neighborhood, Queens, went on to manage Run DMC. We talk about a very legendary era or the beginning.
I didn't
So,
even know he was from Queens specifically.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Queens. To the point, Def Jam is technically rooted in Queens. So, um, as a result of that, of course, you have Run DMC, which was also on Def Jam, LL Cool J. So, if you were from Queens, from my neighborhood, it was just motivated to uh, by those guys. You had that inspiration. You looked up to them. They were your role model, so to speak, in terms of show business. And if you're from my neighborhood, you just aspired to follow their footsteps. To the point where when Nas, who was also from Queens, made the statement when he just dissed Jay-Z, and he said, "Queens niggas run you niggas." That's because Def Jam was pretty much the house of hip hop
Right.
up until you could say early 2000s when Aftermath and them started running it. But Def Jam was the house of hip hop. So you having that and knowing that it was just a natural. If you're from Queens, you just had to be a part of that. Of course, my musical interest started way beyond that. Just growing up, I've always had a strong love for the sonic uh, aspect of music. So listening to it and then falling in love with hip hop in of itself, reciting my favorite artist lyrics and so on, to the point where I realized, wait a minute, I want to do this.
Right.
I don't just like it. I don't just love it. I want to do this. So that's how it all started.
So, did you start off rapping, singing, producing? What was your starting role to, like, okay, I'm in, not necessarily in the music industry, but you starting your journey to being in the music industry and doing what you did?
Yeah, so that's interesting. Definitely, I did start rapping.
Okay.
Right? You notice I mentioned about reciting your favorite artist lyrics. So I did start doing that. But I didn't like how I sound. I didn't like my voice. Right? The voice is a sort of an instrument. And
Yeah.
I didn't like it, but I was able to write. I used to uh, write and then go to school and do freestyle battles with my friends in school. And then I said, okay, let me see if there's another way I can approach this. So eventually, I started ghost writing for certain people, and did that. Realized that I can bring something better out of somebody else that I create. Then it give me the aspect of producing songs. So I started producing beats. Let's say around '97. Um, of course, I'm skipping some steps, but '97, I decided, man, let me do something with myself. All right. I had a lot of friends that were already rapping. I bought myself a Casio keyboard. Casio keyboard is just home, non-professional, but it just gives you enough sounds to where you can be creative at it.
That's a good start.
Right. So exactly. So I did that for Christmas, and I was recording me playing these keys on a tape deck.
A tape deck.
Cassette.
Some of y'all watching this probably don't even know or never even seen a cassette.
Yes, yes. Okay. And I was looping the same way you would take a drum machine and loop your beat. I was looping the sequences on a tape. So that is to say, if I played 2 bars, I'll pause the tape and try to find a way to clean loop it and we'll create a minute worth of beat out of that. So that's how I was creating beat.
That
We're
is
talking about
something else.
yeah. You know, so this is an era. Think of no computers, no softwares that you can just access to create music, right?
That's what I want y'all to understand about this. He didn't have, when he says a Casio board, Google that, because it's not what you're used to with all the controls and things like that. Make it easy for you. Not only was he making beats, he was making a way to make beats.
Yeah. Long story short, we decided to come together and let's see how we can do it. One of my friends had an uncle who had a studio down in his basement. We tried to get connected with that. That was my friend Lee, Infinite Lee. Him and another rapper from Queensbridge, Mike DeLorean, came through, which was now later known as Bars and Hooks, was signed to Mobb Deep record label. They came through. We decided, hey man, let's make this happen, man. Let's make a move. Long story short, Mike DeLorean went to do his own thing, but me and Lee just kept at it. We eventually say, yo, we just got to do this. Yep. We found a studio in Brooklyn, started paying studio time out of our pocket, a professional studio. Mm-hmm. I was as amateur as you can guess, but nonetheless, I now had access to the equipment. Yes. It was on from there. I still got those tapes till this day. Nice. All of the first beats that I made in 1997, wow, 98.
That is really good.
Yeah.
That's really good. I'm glad. I was actually, while you were talking, I was wondering if you kept those, that's really good.
Yeah.
Now I don't know how you playing them, but
interestingly, I actually still have. Well, just recently I bought me a tape deck, a double tape deck. Yeah. And so I can access on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh, that's a good.
Facebook Marketplace.
That is a place that you can find a tape.
Yeah.
You can find anything.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I feel like they might be on the slippery slope sometimes to come in the black market. Like, yeah. I feel like I'm just scrolling and see a limb on there.
Right, exactly. Back in the days, you couldn't just create an album and put it on.
Right, they were selling out the trunks.
Exactly. But even before you got to that, the process of the music industry, you had to create a demo.
Right.
A demo tape was necessary.
Right.
Because you have to be able to create something to show why you're qualified to do this, and that was the demo tape.
And that's exactly what the heck they don't have now.
Mm-hmm.
These need demo tapes.
Well, listen, check this out. The majority of the stuff that I do here that artists put out, especially when they come out and say, yeah, man, I just started rapping, and they make that impression as if it's impressive, but what I'm listening to is their demo tape.
Right.
A lot of these iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify albums, they're demo tapes to me.
Yeah. Okay.
Meaning the quality is amateurish.
Okay, I respect that.
It's and while that's okay to some extent, but what people don't realize, your demo tape's supposed to demonstrate your talent and what you could do, but you're not supposed to rush and put it out. Mm-hmm. You have to make sure that you listen back. You have to get some feedback. Exactly.
So a lot of that new artists, he used the word rushing and not doing it.
Yeah.
Displaying talent.
We used to shop demos. Mm-hmm. When we did the demo, we shop it to a record label. Take it to a record label. If they see the talent in you, they say, cool, we'll put you in the studio to develop you. In some cases, if you were that good, they'll just sign you and get a record deal and get you to start working. But in some cases, they see enough potential in you through a demo, they'll sign you, but let you spend 6 months, 9 months, a year through developing, working with some better producers. Right, necessary. In some cases, they'll shelf you until you're that good. Yeah. That's why you heard certain artists that they announced that got signed, but you never heard an album. It's because they never got past the development stage.
And there's a lot of people like that. Nowadays, there's a lot of people who should be like that. There's a lot of people that are in front of us and performing on stages who don't need to be.
We're in a new industry. We're in a new market. It's a disrupted industry. It's not a organized industry. It's not a structured industry, meaning in order to be heard, in order for music to exist for the most part, it had to go through the gate. That is to say, a record label. Even if it were independent, even if it were local, it was still based on an organization. Right now, it's just do what you do and upload your music.
Right.
And you have non-professionals that's doing that. That's okay. It's a free country. Do it. But it's to say, that's why it's such a disruptive market. It has no structure to how the music come about, how it sounds, and how it feels. So as a result, you just get these you get endless content,
Mhm.
right? I mean, to be honest with you, now there's more content than music. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why there's
Yeah.
no significant like there's a blur between content creator versus an artist.
Yeah.
Because you watch somebody who's a content creator just call themselves an artist
Yeah.
because they plan on making music one day.
I'm annoyed a lot about what goes on nowadays. I'm so annoyed because I love music and I
Yeah,
love art,
yeah.
and I just don't appreciate, how watered down they have to make everything,
That's the problem. Right.
So saying that, because whether someone is talented or not is subjective.
Right.
I think my main point is the lack of artist development is not cool.
If you want to do this, best bet you can do is find somebody that's experienced to help you navigate. Find somebody to mentor you that knows what they're doing. Even if it's an artist that started just like you started, but they now have their foot in and they doing well. At minimum, get there. Follow somebody, get advice from them, let them be your mentor. You can't just wake up and decide that just because you have followers. Followers are not equivalent to actual music fans and actual supporters.
Yeah.
But the point to that is you want to follow people that have a connection with their fan base.
Yes.
Not followers. That have an actual connection with their fans.
Have people interacting on their posts, reposting, commenting, interaction.
That supports their music 100%. You know what I mean? And at least get that, or at least get somebody professional. Get somebody that have some experience. I mean, not to, somebody like myself. I'm not just me, but somebody like myself.
That's why we have him here today. He has, like I said, experience in the music industry, and I feel like he can probably offer some information that we like to hear and can use.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like that's been one of the things I've done, right? So I'm known as a producer, a mix engineer. So those are the two main things that I've done. But one of the other things have been consulting artists, helping develop them, and giving them strategies for their projects from start to finish, or in some cases just about their career. And I've helped successful artists. I've helped artists that failed as a result, only because they realized that's not what they wanted to do. They just but at least getting the advice will allow you to see, is this what you want? And I'm just gonna speak to the artists that want to do this.
Yeah.
You need somebody to get consultant. Get somebody that can help you navigate.
Yeah.
You need to get consultant and manage.
Had a Fendi, before there was a Deb Antley. You know what I'm saying? So
there you go.
Without the Fendis of the world, you wouldn't have the Nicki Minaj's. So those people who the A&Rs and stuff like that, and people like him, and who want to help artists develop. Like if you look back at history of one of some of the most famous, our most favorite rappers and singers, they had somebody that was like, hey, I see something in you, and that kind of ushered them to the next step of being in the industry. Okay, and so I kind of want to know specifically about which artists you have worked with in the past, or just kind of some experiences of some names that we know that you could kind of tell us about.
Yeah, so it's definitely interesting. I work with a lot of artists. Sometimes I actually forgot until I'm having a certain conversation with certain people. But for the most part, one of the projects that I had that was a great experience we're working on was with happened to be a Queens native of mine, Mr. Cheeks of the Lost Boys. I spent a few months going around working on a project we did back in 2004. I did a quarter of that album. We did some of it in New York, did some of it in Miami. But beyond that, I did some record. One of my first record was with that involved Littles, which was artist from Queensbridge at the time, along with Ray Cohn of Wu-Tang. Eventually, I started working with a lot of the artists from Queensbridge, to some of the artists that was signed to Ron Artest, now known as Meta World Peace these days.
Right.
But I'm saying, shout out to Ruck and those guys. Did a lot of work with them. And my homeboy, I definitely can't forget, who was pretty much a force behind me and trying to push me, man. Showed me so much love, and what I was doing was my homie Draws. Rest in peace to him. But Draws was a friend of Nas, and he heard my music. He had a lot of faith, and want to push me and want to get me to that next level. But unfortunately, Draws was a dude that was in uh, focus on what he was doing. So eventually, I was just like, let me just keep working. And one of these days, me and Draws would get back to doing what we doing. Eventually he passed away way at a later, time. But I say that to say I was around a lot of the Queensbridge artists, did a lot of work with them, and a lot of different mixing I've done as well. Whether it was for Jadakiss, Fabulous through my homeboy.
Love Fabulous, one of my faves.
Yeah, Fab is just one of the greatest when it comes to this rapping.
Wordplay.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Jadakiss, both of them cats. Through my homeboy Penny. Man, it's a lot of artists, and I have a lot of other work that I've done that I've had my hands on. When you're in the industry, it's you put your hands on so much different stuff that your name may not come out on it.
No, I get that.
But you're say for example, I've recorded in the infamous Diddy
oh my God.
in Daddy's house with one of the artists that they had at the time, Sherry Dennis. I remember I'm doing a session for that. I used to do sessions up in Henchman Studio, and they manage from Game Gucci Mane originally.
Love him.
Brandy. Who else that he managed?
That's crazy.
Akon, quite a few, right? So I used to always be in there.
I met Akon. I got the pleasure of interviewing him.
Oh yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah. He smelled really good. Really nice. But also what I wanted to say is when you bought Diddy's name out, I was
Diddy's the talk of the world right now.
Look, so you're from New York. You're not. Yeah. I don't think he's from Queens, right? He's from Brooklyn. Right?
Harlem.
Yeah. So I mean,
Harlem.
What's up? You been in some of them Diddy parties before?
Nah.
You never been to a
Nah, just the studio. Listen, see, that's the thing about me. Even I know that, but even when it comes to the industry, and I think this is something that artists can really think about, right? Is how serious you take the work is how far you're gonna get. For me, even when it came to parties like the industry parties, I didn't do a lot of those things.
Right.
Because it was always about the work. I took the work serious. Right. When you hear about Dr. Dre, you hear people talk about him. One of the biggest thing you always complain about him that he stays in the studio. This is the world famous Dr. Dre.
Right.
But he's stuck in the studio because the guy's that serious about his work. And I'm like that.
That's true.
And this is something a lot of people don't know about the industry. Some people do. So I'm not trying to pretend it's such exclusive information. But the thing is, believe it or not, a lot of the executives that you see, they're not doing all of the work. Especially if they look like a superstar, you can best believe they don't do the executive work as much as they get the credit for.
Okay.
Y'all heard of ghost writers?
Right.
Believe it or not, they are ghost CEOs.
Oh. Okay.
There are CEOs that's in the background doing the real CEO work.
Yeah.
That these record execs that as famous, he's behind. They're not that. For those that's really doing the work, they get the reputation and it's consistent.
Okay.
Right, but especially for CEO execs that you have heard had a lot of dirt attached to their name, like jerking people, always robbing people. There's a reason for that. If you're robbing people because you're not really doing the work, their name became such a household name that they start to function.
Have them in that position for the record label.
Yeah, exactly. But in all reality, it's other people. It's the lawyers and other skilled individuals that's doing the actual work, the real work.
It's completely hard for me to believe this.
Yeah.
Even though I've not heard this before, it's not a hard concept for me to.
There's ghost writers, ghost producers, ghost managers, ghost CEOs. Yes, and this is probably something people don't hear a lot, and I'm telling you right now, today, that there's ghosts everything you can think of. But the point to that is, the people who do the work, a lot of time you don't see their name attached to it. Because sometimes they just helping people.
Yeah.
And the people they helping gets the credit for the work.
I understand.
I've done a lot of that type of work. It's better to not sign bad paperwork.
Absolutely. I have this conversation all the time. Like, I used to feel really, bad when artists would get themselves in bad contracts, but now I don't. Like in 2024, I don't feel bad because it's just like you are jumping the gun. You either don't believe in yourself, you have a scarcity mindset, and you think that this is the best you're gonna get, so you jump on it, or again with the scarcity mindset, you've been broke your whole life. This is the most money you ever seen, so you don't think about anything else. But none of that is an excuse to ruin your life. Like, you need to understand what the heck a contract means. Like, for real, for real.
Absolutely. All of the work that I've done, I always copyright the word. I'm talking about having a certification from the Library of Congress. People have used my copyrighted work. So even if we don't have an agreement, the fact that you use a copyright work without written permission, I already got the leverage right there. And then I've had situations where it was a great opportunity that looks good in terms of in the industry, but the paperwork was like, I might as well die and reincarnate back on a plantation in 1490. I really preferred that than this contract. You know what I'm saying?
And when they expose how much they got to sign on and some things like that, it's very baffling.
Yeah, it is. But I'll close this out to say this: artists should understand to know your business. If you don't know it, get mentorship for somebody. You have people that's going to give you the game. Get counseling. These days, it's hard to get management because the game is not the same. Nobody's trying to manage an aspiring artist. Most of these cats are aspiring artists.
Do you really think that underground artists need I don't think they need them until you get to a certain level. I really don't think you guys need managers. A lot of the stuff that the managers do, if you just put a little more effort into yourself, you can really do yourself without having to pay them.
No experienced manager is going to waste that kind of time because there's a manager works to make money.
Right.
Unless it's your friend or somebody who knows and who believe in you and they want to be a part of what you're doing. That's different. But so not only that you may not need them, but that person's not coming to waste their time with just you aspiring to do something.
Right.
However, what they do need, I will say this, you do need to consult with professionals. If you're an underground artist, you're doing a project, go consult with somebody that knows how to help you create that project from start to finish. Not only making sure that they guiding you with creating it, that it sounds professional. Maybe giving you a reference to somebody that's good at mixing and mastering it, because that's key.
Yeah, okay.
That's key.
Yeah.
And then also, what's your plan on releasing it? How you can be impactful than just uploading it to Spotify and just sit there, nobody listen to it, right? How to market it, how to spend some money, help you create a budget.
How to freaking market.
Yeah.
You know, some of y'all don't even do the free ways of marketing. You know what I'm saying?
I've seen some stuff that's free today that back some of the legends would have killed to have access to, and these cats are not taking advantage of it.
Yeah.
But at least you need somebody that know how.
Yeah. And
you can't do this by yourself. I'm sorry. You may do it by yourself because you got 100,000 followers and you feel, yo, I got mad followers, I'm good. All I need to do is put my music out, and I get 1,000 listeners per month on Spotify. That sounds good. 1,000 listeners per month is probably like 5 cents. Like, you're not making the money off of that.
Yeah. As far as streaming.
You know what I'm saying? So you need to think beyond that. But the point is, get consultant each project. Don't get a manager, but consult.
Yeah.
Get guidance. Get with somebody that can create a plan for you. And so that way your project can be successful.
Yes.
You can't just say, streaming now on platform. That's stupid.
And you know what? To add to what you said, as far as consulting with people, it's also good to consult with people outside of your circle about how the heck you sound. Okay.
Absolutely.
Get opinions about your music from people who do not know you. I'm trying to tell you that right now, because sometimes the people that love you, they are being honest, but they just view you a different way. You know what I'm saying? And they might be giving you a biased opinion still. So I urge you all, in addition to what he said, ask people who don't know nothing about your music,
Absolutely. The good thing about underground artists, they tend to have loyal supporters and loyal followers.
Right.
So that's good.
Yes.
As opposed to mainstream artists,
they're not as loyal.
Mainstream fans and supporters, they are fickle.
Yeah.
They are actually evil because they'll flip on you overnight.
Yeah.
If the wrong rumor come out about you, if the album didn't sound a certain way, they'll flip on you like a flapjack, like instant.
Yeah.
As opposed to underground artists, you tend to have loyal supporters because they follow you. They take steps with you in your career. it's a niche. So that's the advantage to being an underground artist.
All right, you all. Well, that was a really good conversation with our guy Unseen here. I hope you underground artists are watching, and I hope that you take heed to some of the tips that we put out today. I am making another video about these topics to help you guys out here, but we want to thank Unseen again for stopping by and letting us know about his journey
For sure.
in the way that he wants to help and how he can help underground artists. You guys can follow him at the handle flashing at the screen here. All his handles, he has a YouTube podcast and stuff like that. So all of that stuff is going to be here for you all. You need to follow him and just hear him out because he has some experience that, a lot of us don't have. That was Unseen and your girl Wildflower of UGS Music. You all, thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all those good things so you can keep this music content coming, this information coming.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Peace.
Thank you again, guys. Bye.